Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, continuing with the chapter of the spoils, verse 26 and onwards. In the name of the merciful and compassionate Allah is only at the start of 113 of these surah and in the middle of another. Suwrah, okay, that's the plural. Remember when you were few in number and weak in the land, fearing lest people should snatch you away. And then he sheltered you and aided you with victory, and provided you with good things. Haply ye may give thanks. O ye who believe, be not treacherous to Allah and His apostle, nor be treacherous to your engagement while ye know that your wealth and your children are but a temptation, and that Allah with Him is mighty higher. O ye who believe, if ye fear Allah, He will make for you a discrimination, and will cover for you your offenses, and will forgive you. For Allah is Lord of mighty grace. And when those who misbelieve were crafty with thee to detain thee a prisoner, or kill thee, or drive thee forth, they were crafty. But Allah was crafty too, for Allah is best of crafty ones. But when our verses were rehearsed to them, they said, we have already heard. If we pleased, we could speak like this. Verily, there is nothing but tales of those of yore, when they said, O Allah, if this be truth, and from thee, then rain upon us stones from heaven, or bring us grievous woe. But Allah would not torment them while thou art amongst them, nor was Allah going to torment them while they asked Him to forgive. But what ails them that Allah should not torment them while they turn folk away from the holy mosque? Though they are not guardians thereof, its guardians are only the pious. Its guardians should be. But most of them know not. Their prayer at the house was not but the whistling and clapping of hands. Taste then the torment, for that ye misbelieve. And so the playing of the musical instruments is to be silenced by the masjids too, not just in them. The impact and the blowing and all that sort of stuff. Some people actually think that's praying. Verily, those who misbelieve expend their wealth to turn folk from the path of the law, but they shall spend it, and then it shall be for them sighing, and then they shall be overcome. Those who misbelieve, unto hell shall they be gathered, that Allah may distinguish the vile from the good, and He may put the vile some on top of the other, and heap all together, and put it into hell. These are those who lose. Say to those who misbelieve, if they desist, they will be forgiven what has passed. But if they return, the course of those of former days has passed away. Fight them then, that there should be no sedition, and that the religion may be holy Allah's. But if they desist, then Allah on what they do doth look. But if they turn their backs, then know that Allah is your Lord. A good Lord is He, and a good help. And know that whenever ye seize anything as a spoil, to Allah belongs a fifth thereof, and to His apostle, and to kindred and orphans and poor and the wayfarer, if ye believe in Allah and what we have revealed unto our servants on the day of discrimination, the day when the two parties met, and Allah is mighty over all. When ye were on the near side of the valley, and they were on the far side, and the camels were below you, had ye made an appointment, then ye would have failed to keep your appointment, but it was that Allah might accomplish a thing that was as good as done, but that he who wishes to perish might perish with a manifest sign, and that he who was to live might live with a manifest sign, for verily Allah hears and knows. So the militias have done something wrong in their desires and start up armies and their desires just to acquire wealth for themselves. And the governments of the world have done wrong in not giving the 4/5 of the impact of the war, of the collections on the winning side of the war, to the greater good of the people, the poor, and all that. The Rothschilds have profited on both sides of every major war. I mean, like Iran, Iraq, and bigger, that sort of stuff. Every big war in this world since Napoleon. And, I mean, they're profiting on both sides. Come on, people. This is not the sort of fight that and fall. The spoils are their goal, not extra. When Allah showed thee them in thy dream as though they were but few, but had he shown thee them as though they were many, ye would have been timid, and ye would have quarrelled about the matter, but Allah preserved you. Verily he knows the nature of men's breast. And when he showed them to you, as ye encountered them, as few in your eyes, and made you seem few in their eyes, that Allah might accomplish a thing that was as good as done. For unto Allah do things return. O ye who believe, when ye enter a troop, and then stand firm and remember Allah, and haply ye may prosper, and fear Allah and His Apostle, and do not quarrel or be timid, so that your turn of luck go from you. Now, luck's not a proper translation of anything that the Quran calls for. I mean, because it has the implication of superstition and mere chance or something like that, and that's not correct. Let go from you, but be ye patient. Verily Allah is with the patient, and be not like those who went from their homes with insolence, and for appearance sake before men, and to turn folks off from Allah's way. For all they do Allah comprehends. And when Satan made their works appear seemingly to them, and said, there is none amongst mankind to conquer you today, for verily I am your neighbor. And when the two troops came in sight of each other, he turned upon his heels and said, verily I am clear of you. Verily I see what you see not. Verily I fear Allah, for Allah is keen to punish. And when the hypocrites and those in whose hearts were sickness said, their religion hath beguiled these men, but he who relies upon Allah, their religion, their system of judgment is better. Their religion hath beguiled these men, but he who relies upon Allah, verily Allah is mighty and wise. Couldst thou see when the angels take away the souls of those who misbelieve, they smite them on their faces and hinder parts? Taste ye the torment of burning. And that is for what your hands have sent on before, and for Allah there is no unjust one towards his servants. And elsewhere you'll see the branding on the nose and all that sort of stuff. But the striking of the face is, unless you got to take out a tooth in retaliation for a tooth or something like that, that's just not acceptable. Striking the face as part of a criminal punishment, much less in the home upon a wife or even a slave. That's just not acceptable behavior, to strike the face. Now, spanking your kids and stuff, that's different, but of course you don't pants a slave, and you don't pants people as part of a criminal punishment. That's not acceptable either. Taste the torment of the burning. That is for what your hands have sent on before, and for that Allah is no unjust one towards his servants. As was the wont of Pharaoh's people and those before them, they disbelieved in the signs of Allah, and Allah overtook them in their sins. Verily Allah is strong and keen to punish, and that is because Allah is not one to change a favor He has favored a people with until they change what they have in themselves, and for that Allah both hears and knows. As for the want of Pharaoh's people and those before them, they said our signs were lies, and we destroyed them in their sins, and we drowned Pharaoh's people, and all of them were evildoers. Verily, the worst of beasts in Allah's eyes are those who misbelieve and will not believe, with whom if thou dost make a league, they break their league each time, for they fear not Allah. But shouldest thou ever catch them in war, and then make those who come after them run by their example, haply they may remember then. And shouldest thou ever fear from any people treachery, then throw it back to them in like manner. Verily Allah loves not the treacherous. Deem not that those who misbelieve can win. Verily they cannot make Allah powerless. Prepare ye against them what force and companies of horse ye can, to make the enemies of Allah and your enemies, and others besides them in dread thereof. And of course the Quran says ride. It's not horse. The rakab, that root, ra, kaf, ba, that root is your ride, your best ride. So, I mean, because that kind of sounds ridiculous. But see, the Quran's not guidance for this time, because the translator is saying horse. Cars weren't in 1900, so he didn't even think of, I'm just going to give an example of what this means, not what it means. Others beside them in dread thereof. Ye do not know them, but Allah knows them, and whatever ye expend in Allah's way, He will repay you, and ye shall not be wrong. But if they incline to peace, incline thou to it too, and rely upon Allah. Verily He both hears and knows. But if they wish to betray thee, then Allah is enough for thee. He it is who supports thee with His help, and with the believers, and reconciles their hearts. Didst thou expend all that is in the earth, thou couldst not reconcile their hearts, but Allah reconciled them. Verily He is mighty and wise. O thou Prophet, Allah is sufficient for thee with those of the believers and who follow thee. O thou Prophet, urge on the believers to fight. If there be of you 20 patient men, they shall conquer 200. If there be of you 100, they shall conquer 1,000 of those who misbelieve, because they are people who did not discern. Now Allah has made it light for you. He knows that there is a weakness amongst you, but if there be amongst you but a patient 100, they will conquer 200. And if there be of you 1,000, they will conquer 2,000 by the permission of Allah, for Allah is with the patient. It has not been for any prophet to take captives until he have slaughtered in the land. Ye wish to have the goods of this world, but Allah wishes for the next. For Allah is mighty, wise. Were it not for a book from Allah that had gone before, there would have touched you for that which ye took a mighty punishment. Eat of what spoils ye have taken, what is lawful and good, and fear Allah. Verily Allah is forgiving and merciful. O thou Prophet, say to such of the captives as are in your hands, if Allah knows any good in your hearts, He will give you better than that which is taken from you, and He will forgive you. For Allah is forgiving, merciful. But if they desire to betray thee, they have betrayed Allah before. But He hath given you power over them, for Allah is knowing wise. Verily those who believe and have fled and fought strenuously with their wealth and persons in Allah's way, and those who have given refuge and help, these shall be next of kin to each other. But those who believe but have not fled, ye have not to do with their claims of kindred until they flee as well. But if they ask you for aid for religion's sake, then help is due from you, except against the people between whom and you there is an alliance. For Allah on what ye do doth look. And those who misbelieve, some of them are next of kin to others. Unless ye act the same, there will be sedition in the land and great corruption. And those who believe and have fled and fought strenuously in Allah's cause, and those who have given a refuge and a help, and those it is who believe, to them is forgiveness and generous provision due. And those who have believed afterwards and have fed and fought strenuously with you, these two are of you, but blood relations are nearer in kin by the book of Allah. Verily, Allah all things doth know. And so please remember the differences in here and elsewhere of the difference between the way of God and in the name of God. Of course, the name of God is part of in God's way.